Welcome to Sevilla. Bienvenidas, bienvenidos. We are in the largest city of the autonomous region of Andalusia. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the history and culture and things that are going on. But first, of course, this is Latina Literati. Sevilla, like so much of the Mediterranean, is an ancient area because you have the Guadalquivir River that goes all the way to the sea, the Atlantic. And so you've had civilizations here for thousands of years. Before the Phoenicians, before the Carthaginians, there were the Tarquinians that are considered the first human remains that have been found in this area, thousands and thousands of years old. And so because it is so warm here, can be very tropical, very fertile, and you have, of course, water that allows fishing and other agricultural pursuits. This area has been inhabited for many years. So after the Punic Wars, the Carthaginians, of course, are defeated and Rome takes over. And for the first time, Romans are allowed to settle and the entire area is given Roman citizenship. So interesting because two Roman emperors, Trajan and Hadrian, will both be born here in what is now Sevilla. So you have people that are ruling the entire Roman Empire born right here in what will one day be Sevilla. Fascinating in terms of the history of how important this city has been for so long. Under the Caliphate, it was part of the Caliphate of Cordoba. So it is no longer as important in terms of ruling, but after the Reconquista, after the Reconquest, then all of the aristocracy wants to be here in Sevilla. And you can tell by the architecture. I mean, it is so refined, so beautiful. Everywhere you look, there is just so much wealth being showed off. And why? Well, because there is a tower called the Tower of Gold, and all of the gold and silver and wealth that was sacked and stolen from the Americas, what would be called the Americas, first arrives in Spain here to the Tower of Gold. From the Tower of Gold, all of the treasure that is sacked, that is brought in from the Americas, of course, a portion is given to the church, and the rest is used to buy things that the Spanish crown needs in its wars and different activities. So very little actually ends up staying in Spain. Most of it will go to Northern Europe and help fund what will be the development in other areas of Europe. And you can really see the concentration of wealth here at that time in things like the cathedral. The cathedral is so ornate and it is just laden, covered in precious metals. And guess who's here? That's right, Christopher Columbus. Chris Columbus is right here in Sevilla. They, as you may have heard, recently did DNA tests, and supposedly on both his maternal and paternal side, he is of Jewish descent. And it's fascinating because, of course, one of the biggest arguments, the reason supposedly the Catholic monarchs even provided any backing was they wanted any new worlds to be converted to Catholicism. So it's interesting that someone whose family was not originally Catholic would be charged for such a thing. Obviously, if that had been known, this would have never come about. So it's very interesting to ponder what would have happened. But Chris is a wanderer. He's been wandering for 500 years. He actually wanted to be buried in what he called Hispaniola, which we now call Dominican Republic, and he was there for a couple hundred years. And you think, why would he want to be there and not here in Spain? Could it have anything to do with his kind of murky ancestry? In any case, he was moved from Dominican Republic to Cuba, and eventually he was moved here to Seville in 1898. So in 1898, he finally arrives here in Seville, and here you can see an image of me before him. There's nothing I can say, but it's just really ornate and to the point of almost gaudy. His pantheon in the Cathedral of Seville. One of the takeaways from Seville is it really looks a lot like the old sections of all of the Caribbean capitals. So if you go to the old section of Dominican Republic or of La Habana Histórica, the Casco Histórico of Havana, or even not so much Puerto Rico, but maybe a little bit in Puerto Rico, but just all of them have this narrow streets, balconies, ornate facades, courtyards, just really beautiful detailing everywhere you look. And of course the tile work is beautiful. So just walking through the streets of Sevilla is just amazing. And it's a city with lots and lots of different bridges. So you have bridges that were constructed a long time ago, and you have bridges that were constructed in preparation for the 1992 Expo. And you have bridges, for example, there's one that I thought was fascinating that was built by the architectural school following Eiffel Tower. And so you can see that it looks like a computer or something. It looks very techy in terms of the whole span. And of course, the beautiful bridge by the Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, which is just a remarkable, remarkable work of art as well as useful. So on one side you have the old part, and on the other side you have Triana, which was considered the fishermen's or gypsies part, which seems to be quite in fashion because beautiful constructions have been made all along it, and you can dine along it and hear music. It's a very musical city because even as you're walking down the streets, people are singing and dancing, and it's just really a wonderful place to visit. Sevilla is a place that steals your heart right away. But I'm saving the best for last. You have got to go to the Maria Luisa Park. And so in Maria Luisa Park, it's a vast park that was given by Maria Luisa de Borbón y las dos Sicilias to the people. What she did was she took the Palace of San Telmo, the gardens there, and basically gave it to the people in 1893. And so there were a lot of different areas developed, but there's a secret area that you need to visit. Aside from the Plaza de España, where all the different areas when the park was inaugurated are represented, you have a statue, what's called the Becker Redondel. So it's an area with lots of different statues, and it is dedicated to the Sevillian poet Adolfo Becker. And so it's very beautiful, and people leave books there, and you can read them there or take them home and exchange books, and people go to just sit under the trees and read. What a wonderful, wonderful way to spend some time. One of my weaknesses is when I travel, I buy a lot of books. And so I'm currently reading this one, Arturo PÉREZ REVERTE. This is his latest. It just came out last week. It's La Isla de la Mujer Dormida, and it's about people trying to sneak things into Spain during the Spanish Civil War. I won't tell you how it ends because I haven't finished it yet, but it's good. It's a good read. And he's a wonderful writer, so all of his books are well worth it. The second book I'm going to recommend is Juan Gómez-Jurado, La Leyenda del Ladrón. And it's about an orphan boy who grows up to be kind of a Robin Hood. He helps all the people that need help and, of course, gets in trouble for it. But I won't go into a lot of detail. Really worth reading. Fascinating, and it all takes place here in Sevilla some time ago. So imagine Sevilla in the 17th, 18th century when all this is going on. Fascinating read, highly recommended. And as always, check your local booksellers, your local library. We love to support them. And we, of course, leave links to independent booksellers in the description box should you not be able to find these books and enjoyed them. So thank you so much for coming to Sevilla with us and joining us on this journey. We would love you to subscribe to Latina Literati and let us know. What have you read? What have you enjoyed? And have you been to Sevilla? What did you learn or enjoy here in Sevilla? Besides the fabulous people, the wonderful music, the great food. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. And as always, con mucho cariño, mucho salud, mucho amor. Gracias.